Hey y'all, gonna be short today, really short. You know, today is 40 years, 40 years since I came into the recovery world and into this 12-step world, and I'm just gonna chat about that for a little bit today, and what I have to say is that there's often over the years, as I've met with people and talked about my recovery from alcoholism and the insanity of the way I was living, and of my self-centered nature, of my fear-driven existence. Often people would say, "Oh wow, good for you, David, good for you, and good job, David." And sometimes I said something and sometimes I didn't. But I'm just going to say that there's no way that I orchestrated this. Not a chance. I've seen hundreds, maybe thousands of good men and women who didn't make it, who slipped off into oblivion, who didn't make it, who had the opportunity and didn't stay sober, who came and had the opportunity and died, from overdoses and a myriad of deaths, to be honest with you, that, we sometimes don't get chalked up to the disease because they look like, it doesn't look like the disease, it looks like a car accident, or it looks like a suicide, but it is. And so I'm grateful. I cannot take credit for my sobriety or my recovery. Who is the I that would take credit? The old me, the ego me, the persona of me. There is no me in that way. The story of me. No. So I recognize that the recovery, the life I have today, which is an amazing life, it really is, happy, joyous, and free, didn't, wasn't because of what I did. I guess, yes, I showed up. In some way, I showed up, but I can't say it was me, that I had some plan. I didn't have a plan. I came to Alcoholics Anonymous, 40 years ago. All I wanted from me, what this guy wanted, was to get the heat off. That was it. I just, I didn't know where else to go to get the heat off. And my wife at the time, Linda, was leaving for sure, and I had a daughter, 6 months old, Emily, and I thought, well, if I go to some meetings, maybe that'll show them that I'm half-assed serious. But I really, there's no way that I ever, had a thought of having a whole life of recovery. No way. And so I can't take credit. That's all. I have to say thank you over and over again to the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people who thousands of people who spoke in meetings, who, yes, we're miracles. That's right. Yes. Thank you, JR. And that's it. And so, when I look back at my life, and I think of, literally, the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of meetings I've been to, and the people I've spoken with, and the sponsors I've had, and and the teachers that I've known, and some of them I never met. I just heard them speak in a meeting, and they touched me, and they opened my heart, and that's the beauty of the fellowship, is that we don't We have an endless resource. How God has worked through the fellowship, the 12-step fellowship, and now in multiple programs, NA and CA and GA and SA and, CMA. I mean, there's just so many fellowships now where we can go and be lifted up. And that's what's happened. Thousands of people have helped me lift up and helped me to have this life. And so what's my job now? My job is to give it back always, and always has been. And in the, the limited way that I've been able to be able to do that, to give it back and to pass it on, to shine the light behind me so that others can see. And I'm very fortunate these days that we have the internet, and I get to do this kind of thing a little bit more than and maybe touch a few more people, and that's the whole idea. Folks, nobody comes to a 12-step program because things are going well, but hopefully somewhere along the line, I can be a inspiration to some, that they can have a whole life. Imagine I was 25. I was a kid. Oh, fuck. I was just I was a kid. I hadn't gone to high school. I was, talk about trauma. We didn't have to spell trauma in those days, but now everybody's talking about, they're going to therapy for trauma. And well, I could have written a book on trauma. I just didn't know that that's what, that my life had been. I lived in trauma, and I look back now and we didn't know. I just suffered through it. I just pulled through it. I screamed and hollered and sometimes went to 3 meetings a day because I was in pain. I didn't go to 3 meetings a day because I didn't have anything else to do. I went because that was the only place I felt the presence of God. I felt love, and at the time, and so I'm grateful. And I got to say that that part of the thing that I did think at the time was that I wanted to break the chain. I knew that alcoholism had been in my family, my dad and my mom, although I never saw her drink, and my brothers, and I wanted to break the chain. My little girl was 6 months old, and there were sons to come after that, and it happened, and recovery is contagious. I want you to know that recovery is contagious. Now, we can't orchestrate it. If you're thinking about your life and how can I make a difference, well, get recovery. Choose a spiritual way of living, and often the folks around us, as time goes on, will be attracted to that. It's attraction. It's not, we can't really talk anybody into anything, but it is attraction. And so choose that way, and you'll be amazed as the years go by at how your life can have an effect on others. And so I'm so grateful for that, that there's recovery in my family, a lot of it, people having amazing lives because of their choice to choose a spiritual path, to choose to not kill themselves with drugs and alcohol. Their choice. So and we can be an example. Know that, and so I encourage you to do that. Hey, Tyler Goosen. Hey, buddy. I'm sitting in Emily's bedroom doing my reading today. Good to see you, my friend. 40 years today. Today's the 40 years in recovery. Can you imagine? My friend Tyler. Hey, good to see you. Awfully good to see you. Good work. You see, we were just talking about that I can't take credit for it. It really isn't my work. It's, there is a God, and He had a plan. And, and I don't subscribe to an idea of a God that's separate from me. I subscribe more to a consciousness that we all are part of, and that consciousness is love, and love, I believe, lifted me up, and has lifted me up over the years and kept me from killing myself. and as years have gone by, I've as the veils have dropped more and more and more. That's awesome. Long Scott. That's great. Your dad is 34 years. I was just saying, as the years have gone by, and no matter where you are in the process, I guarantee you that it's still going to get better. We keep doing the work. We stay close to our connection with service, with love, with to have our quiet times, be still, know that I'm God, meditation and prayer. There's no end to it. It has such depth. Nobody says, well, I've gotten all that I can get from this. We just continue to give into it, and the rewards are endless. Endless. So, as I look back on the last couple of years, have been, some of my best years in recovery, in life, because of the awakening, that came, that I never really got until just recently, that my thoughts, who I thought I was, is not who I am. And, I recognize now that what Bill said in We Agnostics, he said either God is or he isn't. Either he's everything or he's nothing. And if he's everything, that includes me. That includes you. We are that. And to discover what that we are is the process of spiritual awakening. And it says, having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we carry the message to others. So I would have to say that our awakening it just deepens and deepens and deepens. Of course, I had a spiritual awakening early in recovery, but it doesn't compare to where we are today. So I encourage you to, no matter where you are, if you're sober 20 years or 30 years, to stay with it and keep doing the work. Don't let pride tell you that you know it, and stop doing the work, stop going to meetings. There's my daughter. Hi, my love. Oh, I've been really tired. I went on a huge walk today, and Emily's checking in to make sure that I haven't fallen asleep during meditation. Huge walk. What's also awesome, that, to have adult kids, adult children, that I don't parent. We release them, and I see sometimes that we parents in my line of work, because I work in recovery, tend to get caught sometimes parenting way after their children are really on their end. Yes, I am awake. Thank you. My daughter wrote, "Happy birthday, you are awake." Okay, love you guys. And yeah, we can have relationships without that are free with our adult kids, adult children, whatever they want to call them as they grow up. And I'm so grateful for that. So here we are. I'm reading from this 24-hour day book. I'm just going to give it a quick read, and then I'm going to dinner. We're not going to meditate tonight. Lately we've been doing a reading and a talk and a meditation. We're not going to do that. I am exhausted. One of my buddies took me up a mountain here in Squamish today. We smoke something or other, and we walked to the very, very top of it, and 62 flights of stairs, it said on my I have a watch that tells me how far I've walked, and over 10 kilometers in I'm exhausted. Anyway, love you guys. Here we go. December 1st, thought for the day. The thoughts that come before having a slip are often largely subconscious. So this book is the 24-Hour Day book. It was written in 1954 for the Fellowship of AA at the time. And I really like it, and I read it. And I sometimes have to edit it a bit because he comes from a mentality that was in 1954, and sometimes it was pretty patriarchal and even sometimes a little racist, and I just edit that shit out, and it was the times, But the essence of what he was sharing is what I try to pull. The thoughts that come before having a slip are often largely subconscious. It is a question whether or not our subconscious minds ever becomes entirely free from alcoholic thoughts as long as we live. It is a question whether or not our subconscious minds ever become entirely free from alcoholic thoughts as long as we live. It's possible, though, I believe, for that to happen, we can be free of alcoholic thinking. And see, I don't suffer, it's the alcoholism, that is about my thinking, and in my thinking, the thinking of the alcoholic, the untreated alcoholic, is selfish and self-centered and fear-based and delusional. So I think that we can be beyond that. We commit our lives to service. For instance, some of us dream about being drunk when we are asleep, even after several years of sobriety. During the period of our drinking days, our subconscious minds have been thoroughly conditioned by our alcoholic way of thinking, and it is doubtful ever become entirely free of such thoughts during our lifetime. But when our conscious minds are fully conditioned against drinking, we can stay sober, and our subconscious minds do not often bother us. Am I still conditioning my conscious mind? So I agree with him to a certain degree, but I have to say that just conditioning won't keep me sober. It has to be love. It has to be in service. It has to be my relationship with a higher power. It's not just conditioning. So sometimes I think he misses that, and although for the most part, he's bang on. Having sympathy, it says this is the meditation for the day, having sympathy and compassion for all who are in temptation, a condition which we are sometimes in, we have a responsibility towards them. Sympathy always includes responsibility. Pity is useless unless it does not have a remedy for the need. Let's try that again. Pity is useless because it does not have a remedy for the need. But wherever our sympathy goes, our responsibility goes too. When we are moved with compassion, we should go to the one in need and bind up his wounds as best we can. So that's his way of saying service. So yes. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may have sympathy for those in temptation. I pray that I may have compassion for others' trials. So that's our little reading, 24-Hour Day book, December the 1st, 2020. Imagine it was 1980. Just a kid. I'm so grateful. I really have had an amazing life. And even 5 years ago, even 2 years ago, I think if you'd have asked me, could I ever be so free? I don't know that I could have shared with you. I couldn't have shared with you. I knew the possibility was there. And so every day when we speak, I speak about that freedom that has come, where I've recognized that I'm not my thoughts. I'm not my story. I'm not my conditioned beliefs. In this moment, living in this moment, I am free. Ultimately, there is no I am. Or there is only I am, but not I am David or I am. It's the ultimate I am. Thanks, you guys. I don't think we're going to meditate today. We'll do it tomorrow. They're holding supper for me. And isn't life great? All right. The power of now, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. You know, if you're not in recovery, and but you're wondering how do you find this oneness, this isness. There's many people there are many paths. If you're not in recovery, there's Eckhart Tolle is, in his book, The Power of Now, wow, direct path. Muji, I've been listening to Muji a lot lately. Love his sharing. Dr. David Hawkins. Hey, Milt. Hi, brother. Milt's got a few more years than I. Thank you, Tyler. Love you, my friend. Happy today to your family. I keep an eye on you. Send my love and prayers for you all the time. Thank you. So I was just saying Eckhart Tolle, Dr. David Hawkins, Muji, Ram Dass. So if you're not in recovery and you're looking for, where do I find this energy, this oneness, this love? These are people, there's so much access through YouTube to all these great speakers and Alan Watts. It's all I can think of right now, but there's lots. There's endless. If you really have a thirst for it, there's lots of great teachings to be listened to directly on YouTube. Okay, and you can get, you can get it from there. It can, there's a transmission that happens. It happens in meetings. The transmission does happen in meetings. That's what's going on. You're lifted up because the meeting vibrates at a higher vibration than any one of the individuals in the room. And as a group, we're vibrating in unconditional love. So you go to meetings and, though they won't keep you sober, but they'll lift you up so that you can begin to do the work and make your own connection, your own relationship, because that's what we're doing. We're not talking about a belief. We're talking about a experience, a relationship. And you can have that experience, that relationship, because it's right there. We have it. It's already in us. It's just to be able to lift the veils, to realize, to become self-realized. Okay. Love you, love you, love you, love you. Thank you so much to God and to all of you for my recovery. And the gifts to my family as a result of it. It's endless. It really is. Thank you.